Okay, welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter. I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. Now, got a question today. How long does it take to clear title? I don't even know if that whole intro made it. We'll never know. That's fine. Nah, crap. Okay, so how long does it take? So let's talk about what title is. Let's talk about differences between New York and other states. Let's talk about what clearing title is. So, title is basically an insurance policy, and you always want to order it whenever you buy a property because you want to know that you're paying all this money for a property and that you're going to own it, right? So, title is going to ensure, and it's different in 49 states than it is New York, but it's going to ensure that you own the property. Now, in 49 states, it's going to ensure you own the property, but it may or may not ensure that you own it free and clear. In New York, just the way things happen, nothing gets sold subject to. Can't do subject to deals. So just to reiterate, a subject to deal is a deal where you'll buy a property and you'll leave the mortgage in place. It almost doesn't happen in New York because in New York, everything is done with all the liens, all the taxes are paid for by the seller. So one of the things that we sort of take for granted in New York, but it's an amazing thing. So you order this title insurance basically so that a Native American doesn't show up and say, "Hey, this is my great grandfather's property. Get out of here." If you do that, and it really is his great grandfather's property, you can prove it. You then can show your title insurance. You can make a claim on your title insurance and get your money back that you paid for the property, right? So it's ensuring that you own it free and clear. That's what title is. It's ordered on every single. It should be ordered on every single time a property is bought. Now, what clearing title means is clearing up a problem, right? So what kind of typical problems that would show up? So a typical problem would be that the owner of record that's on the deed died, and now it has to go through a probate process so that someone else takes control of the property, right? Probate means the transfer of property from the deceased to the heirs. Now, if there's a will, that's easier, right? Because it's clear who is going to get it. Sometimes people die intestate, which means there's no will. And then the court has to appoint an administrator, and they can move the property to whoever the heirs should be. But what it could happen sometimes is that people think this is a no-brainer. I've been living in the house, and they don't realize there are other heirs who may come and claim the property, and that could get, as the great Greg Helbeck says, get hairy, right? There are hairy title issues, problems, right? Who are the heirs? Where are the heirs? That happens a lot. Some other issues would be, let's say there's a mortgage that was paid off, but is still showing up as open. The way it works for mortgages, or in other places they call them deeds of trust. So just to explain what that means, when you borrow money on a property from a bank or a typical lender, there's a note that says I owe $400,000 at 6%, and then there's a mortgage in New York. In other states, it's called a deed of trust. In other states, it's called a mortgage deed of trust. And that is the actual lien on the property that says if you don't follow the terms of the note, then we could foreclose on the property. So when you record a mortgage, right, with the county, the only way to make that go away, right, you'd think if you pay off the loan, it goes away. It doesn't go away until a satisfaction of mortgage is filed. So the lender of record has to file that satisfaction. Now, sometimes, especially back in 2008, 2009, lenders went out of business. And it's not so easy to get satisfaction. So very often you'll have a mortgage that was completely paid off, but it's still showing up as open on title. This happens all the time. And sometimes it's an easy way to just get a satisfaction. You call up Wells Fargo and you say, look, you see this is the low number, it was paid off, please send me a satisfaction. They do it. Send the satisfaction to a title company to record, and it gets recorded and everything is fine. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes they don't have records. Sometimes they're not sure if it was paid off or not, right? I know Chase had a lot of technical problems back in 2008, 2009, and subsequently. I worked in a mortgage business, and they used to call my company. I need to talk to that woman. They used to call my company and say, "Hey, do you have the file on this loan?" And I would say, "What do you need?" And they'd go through every single document. They basically did not have any documentation, right? And then we would send it to them, and then what would happen is I'd see 3 months later, they'd send us a repurchase request. "Hey, this guy didn't pay. We want you to buy it back." So after a while, they kept calling me and asking me for documents. I kept saying, I've been noticing, my throat is coming, got some nuts stuck in it. I've been noticing that every time I send you documentation, you then send this repurchase request. I go, so am I really required to give that to you? And of course, the person asking me for the documentation had no idea what the hell she was talking about. So it didn't even matter. But Chase like lost millions of files. So that could be a situation where they're not even sure if it was paid off. So then you need to really figure out, what's going on. And that's something that can take time to clear title. So the real answer for how long it takes to clear title depends what the problem is, right? Why isn't title clear, right? If there's a simple situation where someone passed away, but there's only one heir, you can speak to that heir and you can figure this out with a trust and estate attorney. It could be easier. If it's a situation where there are multiple heirs all over the country, you don't know where the hell they are, or even worse, all over the world, that can take a lot longer to clear title. If there's a simple lien on a property and you can get a payoff on it, then it's easier to get clear title. If there's a lien on it and you can't get a payoff on it, you don't know who the lien holder is or mortgage holder, then it's much more complicated. It can take much longer. So there's no answer for how long it takes. Simple situations, the average situation is quick, simple, no problem. There's a mortgage, get a payoff on it. This is the owner, you're buying from the owner, then it's easy. It's when it gets complicated that it takes a lot longer. I'm working on a deal now, 3 years trying to clear title. I have 9 heirs. It's an issue, right? I have to get whatever. I don't want to get into it. It's annoying. So there is no real answer for how long it takes. It takes as long as it takes. Very often you're dealing with courts. Courts are not quick, especially in New York. Right? Dealing with surrogates court, dealing with getting an estate moved through the process. It takes forever in New York. In other states, it might be quicker. So there really is no answer for how long it takes to clear title. It depends on what the problem is, why title is not clear, and it depends where you are, and it depends on what information you can get to clear the title. So I'm 7 minutes into a 10-minute recording, and I don't know what the hell to talk about anymore. So let's talk about the difference between a title company in New York and a title company in other states. So if you watch various gurus, I'm just getting a bottle of water, I'm sorry. If you watch various gurus on the internet, who are all good guys, and they do business in maybe all 49 states except New York, they're going to talk about something called an investor-friendly title company. They probably get asked for that once a week, twice a week. No such thing in New York. So in 49 states, the title company is the primary, custodian, runner of a closing, right? The money changes hands through them. I know in California they use an escrow company also, but title company is really the one that's going to control the closing. In New York, the title company is basically a service provider. Simple. They have 2 jobs. Their job is to make sure all the liens are paid off, and their job is to make sure all the taxes are paid off. That's pretty much it. They come there, they do some math, and that's it. They are not moving money. Money's not going to them unless it's a payoff that they have to pay off, but the proceeds are not going through them. In New York, it's run by an attorney. So you really want more of an investor-friendly attorney in New York, and you need an attorney to represent you. Title companies don't do it. That's another reason why it's very hard to do subject to deals in New York. I'm not going to say impossible, but pretty close to impossible. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of calls. Because title companies here, their job is to pay off the lien, right? They got to make sure it's paid off, right? And there is a due on sale clause, right? And there's no way to avoid the due on sale clause for subject to. There's a way the lender doesn't know that it was sold, so it doesn't avoid the due on sale clause. It just circumvents a due on sale clause. So, but in New York, if you ask a title company, hey, I'm buying a property subject to this lien, I think they would look at you like you have 7 heads. So almost impossible. So a title company here, again, is there just to make sure the liens are paid off and the taxes are paid. The title company in other states is really running the whole show. Money's going through them. They are controlling it. And the title company in 49 states may be very willing to do a subject to deal. If both parties agree, they'll leave it in place. They don't care, right? And I'm not sure why they're not on the hook for not paying off a lien that was really due on sale, but they're not. Attorneys in New York are not going to go for that, especially now. Also, another reason why subject to is almost impossible is because the seller is almost always represented by an attorney. And if an attorney would advise his client to sell a property and leave the mortgage in place to a new buyer, and then for whatever reason that buyer didn't make a payment to screw up his credit, the attorney would probably be subject to malpractice because it's just not done in New York. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you are interested in A course I have that teaches how to do what I do. Go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you are interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching from me, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help me. And please keep the comments coming. I go live 5 times a week, and sometimes I don't know what the hell to say. Your comments really help me. If it's a simple, and you can ask me a question about anything, doesn't have to be about the video. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply. If it's a topic I've covered, I'll send you links to the videos. And if it's something new, I'll do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it.